Benjamin, do you think that the Jews, had they had the capability to lash back in a way that would have killed German children, that they would have been in the wrong to do so during World War II?
Well, look, any time that you're killing a child, that you spend killing a child in a war, is time that you could be spending killing somebody who's going to make a difference in the outcome. Children are not going to help you. There's a soldier somewhere that needs your attention. You should go worry about killing him.
Well, what
is this killing the women and children?
What if the soldiers are so well armed that you simply don't have a chance of killing them? What if the Jews couldn't have killed German soldiers, but they could have bombed some things and there might have been children around? Do you think they would have been justified in doing that?
Only after they tried the plagues.
Let's let Yaakov speak for a minute. Go ahead. Or is he not here?
Because I think you've already said that you don't think so. You've already said that under no circumstances would such a thing be, permissible or understandable or anything. So even in the case of the Jews during World War II, they simply had to take it.
Those are not the alternatives.
Well, what other alternative did the Jewish population in Germany have at that point, other than to do what they did, and that was meekly go to their death?
Well, I think they had opportunities to get out. They could have.
I see. So the noble thing would have been just to leave, not to try to do anything about it.
Well, I think that it's more noble if you can leave. It's more noble to leave than it is to kill children. You want me to rank these things? If those are your two choices, yeah, pick the right one. What could the Germans have done? Look, the Germans probably did not establish good domestic relationships with other countries. This is a mistake that they fixed with things like AIPAC, right? Where they recognize that they need to have working political relationships around the world. They need to be of value for lots of different countries. And then if they're oppressed, all the countries that they have positive relationships will come to their aid. That can be a health strategy, right? The problem with the strategy of the Palestinians is they had the eye of the world. They had a lot of people caring about their well-being. A lot of people. And they just push all that up.
Well, but hold on.
You trade. You trade.
People caring. A lot of people giving
advocating
at least, right?
Free Palestine. No, Free Palestine was a phrase that people knew all around the world.
And was it working?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was working. In the sense that Israel had not yet cleared Palestine off the map. It was working.
Wow.
Was it working in the sense that, I don't know, Israel was taking steps to increase their territorial gains? Maybe not. I think there was a time, look, Arafat had a kind of a Gandhi moment. Arafat had everything. Arafat was offered way more than was ever offered.
I agree.
And he had a kind of a Gandhi moment. I don't know how peaceful it was, but relatively speaking, it's very peaceful. I think.
Do you agree with me at the very least that what Israel did in response to October 7th is kind of the equivalent of what we did after 9/11?
I think so. Overreacted, overplayed.
Yep.
No, because one of the things that we did after 9/11 was we went and we bombed Iraq and attacked Iraq and invaded Iraq. As far as I can tell, Iraq had no involvement. These people all came from Saudi Arabia. So I think target, right? I at least I don't think Israel's making the wrong target.
Well, it comes.
It's not identical to 9/11. Jesus.
That's right. It's not identical, but the point is the Palestinians did a thing on October 7th. Did they think that thing was going to change anything? No, they hoped for an overreaction. And I would say they got it. They got everything they wanted.
Right. And that Israel lost the PR war. Israel's looks like they are committing the atrocities that they are committing, and that there's no path towards a two-state solution. I mean, I fantasized before this event, before October 7th, that there'd be a three-state solution, that Gaza and the West Bank would be administered separately, because it just wasn't realistic given their governance, one Hamas and one the PLA. They didn't agree on terms, so you're negotiating with different parties. But if they're not going to have a divided state, then I agree with you, John. Under this current regime, it's just going to be ruthlessness and dogma and fundamentalism. And that means no peace in that property dispute. There's nothing to de-escalate. There's no force. There's no ethics. I don't think there's any prevailing, voice of reason.
Yeah, and among the Gaza, I think you can make the case that the people of Gaza have been victimized by their own government, but that's not the way it looks to them, right? All they see is Israel bombing them back to the Stone Age, right?
I think if there's any hope in the matter, the Iran problem might be, and knowing the Iran problem, the Gaza people. Because the problem in Gaza is not the people of Gaza. The problem in Gaza is that the United States is using the people in Israel as a front for their war against the people that Iran has been using as a front for their war against the people that the United States is using as a front for their war. In other words, Israel-Gaza is just a proxy front for Iran and the United States. And if Iran and the United States can have a proper war, then Gaza and Israel don't need to. Does that make sense?
It's dumb. I hear it. It does not make sense, because if Iran and the U.S. go to war, where's the magical peace in Gaza and Israel? These people are going to hate each other for a long time, because terrorism doesn't have a peaceful solution. You have to.
Well, look, the people of Iran understand that if they have a choice between the Islamic Republic of Iran.
What choice do the people of Iran have? I wish Sam was off the phone so he could correct you about all your misconceptions on Iran.
They have basically a choice between Islam and Israel. That's their choice. And many of them have reached a point of preferring Israel.
So where do they register this choice? They go to a ballot box. They go at their local takeout restaurant. They just press a button and say Israel or Islam. Which is it gonna be? Where do they make this choice, Benjamin? That you're hypothetically growing up?
So I think the people that make this choice are the people like Sam, who are from
He's
Iran.
not in Iran. Where does he make his choice?
The people in Iran can't express their choice except to their friends. Very often they're friends who live outside. And then the people like Sam, who have friends who live in Iran, can express on behalf of his friends in Iran what they're thinking and doing. But they can't fly an Israeli flag outside their house in Iran. That's not an option. But there are many people from Iran outside the diaspora who are supporting Israel over Islam. It is a real thing. It's happening.
All right. This is just ridiculous. They vote by telling their friends outside the country that they want Israel over Islam. It's just so stupid. Yeah, John, please save us.
Voting is a bit of a strong word here, right?
Most of your claims revolve around a choice. What other way would they have a choice? They don't have a choice, is my argument. And you keep claiming they have a choice by telling their friends that they want to fly an Israeli flag or some weird.
One of the ways that they engage this choice of Israel over Islam is they give Israel information about where the leaders are meeting. That pipeline of information to Israel is because people in Iran are secretly hoping Israel will win and Islam will lose.
All right. Well, Hero, you're here. Let's talk about another false dichotomy. Hopefully it isn't sourced by Benjamin to chase after, because I don't think he's the Iran analyst we need him to be. Or Absidy, if you are provoked by the ideas of Benjamin, let me know.
Very unprovoked, but thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not that provoked on this topic. I think Benjamin has a way of saying things in the simplest, grossly oversimplified way. But I mean, I kind of largely agree. I think Iran and Hamas are the problem in this situation. I feel for the plight of the Palestinians for sure. But yeah. Doesn't mean.
I think it's Abe City. I just want to point that out. Even if Ab City thinks his name is Ab City, I think it has to be Abe City if you're gonna go with ABCs.
Ah, shit. I hadn't thought of that, but it's a really good point.
All right, that's fine. We'll call you Abe for short.
Shit.
It's good though.
How about
just
say
A
Frango? A Frango.
I think Abe City's cool. People call you Abe.
Yeah, it's better than being called a chicken, so I'll take that.
Yeah, you just sound very Jewish. I mean, you might be Jewish, so that might be on point. Abe City. It's like Abe's City.
He could be from the land of Lincoln.
It's funny because Abraham is probably more correctly Abraham, right? Abraham, right? Not Abe, anyways. But it's all good.
Wait, so if Abe City and Ab City are two of the choices, what's the third? Because this has to be a false dichotomy.
That's right. How about A B C D E?
Yep, there you go. Got it.
There you go.
The most recent data comes.
Say faster. A B C D E. See, A B C D E. A B C D F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. See, I just said them all. I just said it kind of. A B C D F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. Can't tell. Sorry.
I'm glad you're practicing your wordsmithing, which will soon be obsolete.
A B C D F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z.
Those are just letters.
A B C D F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z.
Well, lettersmithing is already been usurped. So
I'm voting right now. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm voting.
You're late on the case.
Hey man, I'm not late till 7:00. So let's just point out that I am okay.
wait, is this the Virginia redistricting thing?
See what I did there? Yeah, it is.
Cool.
All for it, huh?
Parking illegally and all, as I do it. All right.
I think
Is
that
it
might
parking
nullify your vote.
illegally just its own version of redistricting?
Want to hear me vote in real time? It'll be real something.
Yeah. Do they allow you in with your phone? They make you put your phone away.
They might make me. The last time I think they put it away, so
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
While you're voting,
We can get
I
back
just
to
wanna-
the person at the booth asking me to help. Hold on.
Just want to point out, I put a link in the chat because I back up on shit.
No,
And I'll read a little bit of it here. After the 12-day Iran-Israel war, 39% of Iranians expressed positive views of Israel and 48% negative, making it the second most favored viewed country, behind only the United States at 53% positive. So I think that there are very positive views held.
We're gonna do the life in the moment with voting, so we can check out the link, Benjamin. Understood.
Okay, can you take your phone number, please? And
What's happening as we speak?
I'm going to set the microphone.
Voting stands.
Alright, I started the stopwatch on his actual voting. Soon back to predictions. We're doing how big is ballot? How many items are on his ballot? Shows voting because this book is controlled being this huge ballot. Yeah, because usually means no fact checking. And it was it's only right now.
more than a lot of people that run outside, they are now publicly framing it that way, i.e. supporting Israel for the first time in their life. You want to call that out, or you want to accept that?
I can accept it. Mostly because the behavior of the U.S. and Israel during the past has soured a lot of people inside of Iran towards Israel and the U.S. And the bombing was incredibly strong in pushing people away from the United States, whereas before the bombing, people were kind of looking to the United States as a savior. That has not changed, and people in Iran are now looking more towards China as
Sam, can I ask a question about that?
the U.S.
Yeah. So, where do you, just like as a general matter, get your information from? This is just out of ignorance. Like I'm trying to get a sense of like, what kind of
it's anecdotal. Yeah.
Is it like 3, 4? Is it like 20, 25?
What does that mean?
Like 3, 4 people?
About 20, 25 people. Check.
Have you been able to? You haven't
No.
been able to have the same kind of groups on clubs that you used to have, right?
Email gets through, but not quickly. But all social media, everything else is completely shut out. Every once in a while, phone lines open up, and so like one person talks to one person and gets the news about like a whole bunch of people, and then they relay it to a whole bunch of people. So a lot of news gets to us that.
I think I'm going to do a new format rule. Because my phone but I didn't know. But I think I'm going to do like pro rules and do like
Steve, not to. Yeah.
Pro rules is going to be the meter version.
Right. Well, I eventually did, but I didn't know you wanted me to actually mod with the mod badge.
Oh yeah. But like we'll change this idiots and then I'll talk to them. And you can tell them to stop in the conversation. It's not true. Usually don't have to tell them. Never again after you tell them. Except that person who just can't select, right? It's like you would never let this fly in a classroom or in a clubhouse. Hey, you got other things going on. You're fixing your kitchen, you know what I'm saying?
It's really true.
But Yeah, like my class would like my room's down here. That's because I'm getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that has a lot to do, and because they have my undivided attention. Here, it's just like, oh, come on, E. You can't speak like every phrase you say has a comma in it every single time. Like,
It's bro, you own that one. That's on you.
No, I didn't have the time to do it. Like, I was just like, you know, so many things were going on. I was just like, another right now.
This room is not just for me. What's going on is there to the same fucking talk. Usually,
Well, I just wanted to give you guys the note that it took less than 5 minutes for Pro from ballot to coming back on Clubhouse.
Yeah, it was quick.
So when people say I ain't got time to vote, they're not making time for shit.
I have a heart.
So I am finding all kinds of articles about Iranian attitudes recently towards different countries. I couldn't find any, and I asked for any article to support Sam's opinion on this, and I hope that Sam will find an article that supports.
I don't think we should move on from the fact that when you're a dyed-in-the-wool, completely captured Democratic operative, it wouldn't take you a long time.
How many pages, how many things are on your ballot? Like elected positions and ballot measures, approximately.
But I have to admit that when it comes to voting, I don't mess around. I just vote straight Democrat. When it comes to criticizing, I'll criticize both parties all day long. They both got to change. But when it comes to voting, you don't mess.
Let the record reflect. When it comes to voting, Benjamin votes blue. Wait, blue lives matter.
Blue candidates are slightly less obnoxious than red candidates. Still corrupt, still problematic. Big problems with identity politics.
Last hypocritian.
Which is the super small problem in a large scale of problem.
Right. Pro, I was asking when you were muted, maybe you didn't hear it. I was just asking how many different positions and or ballot.
That's it. 2 questions.
How did they write it in simple language, or was it written in a way that was?
It was written in simple language, but if you didn't know the party of your person you're voting for, you wouldn't know because it's not.
No, the redistricting with that's the part. It was written pretty.
Return of fair districting, and so really depends on who wrote the fair districting, but kind of did work out to my idea of what was fair. So,
man, it gets you on both too. It's a return, so it's like safe back to what we did before, and fair. How could you be against?
Make fair great again. They should make make fairs fair again. No, state fairs. Make fairs fair again.
I had a law professor who used to say, fair is where a pig goes to get a ribbon. We don't talk about fairness.
Exactly. Or maybe the 3 uses of the word fair. Get fair. Make fair.
Yeah.
You forgot the fact that fair reflects the color of a person.
Okay, make fair.
That's fair. I like that. Make
I
fair,
think
fair.
in prose words, that's
And to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore, so that was the word, fairness in the upcoming elections while ensuring Virginia's stated redistricting process resumes for all future redistricting after the 2030 census. And I got that in the 299 characters out of 300, by the way. It's as if they knew.
Those people focused on social media boosting really know.
It's almost like they prompted AI for the most user-friendly share.
Sorry, it's almost like the agentic personhood entity knew exactly what they were doing.
I
Sunday they're showing better.
Hey, I want to express my bid here to be the Iran expert. I think I was right, and I think Sam doesn't really have anything to back up his claim.
I would just like to point out that the article you posted was back in November. Okay, well,
Yeah, right. The sentiment before
You were taught.
bombing doesn't apply.
I just want to post for the record that I was right, but I was wrong, but I was right on a topic. And I'm just not going to say what the topic is, but, looked it up when I was a kid. Wasn't right then it changed. Then as an adult, I realized I was correct. And I just want to let the record state that I was correct on the thing I was wrong on.
This sounds a lot like Neil deGrasse Tyson right now. You're sounding a lot like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
60% of the time that Benjamin backs up his shit. He backs up his shit.
It's actually
100% of the time.
It's actually epigenetics, right? Didn't you always I always thought so it's for the wrong reason, but it ends up being right. But again, it was like there was another wrong stacked on top of it, but I was still right. So when I was a kid, I used to think all the kids that played basketball suddenly became tall because they willed themselves to be tall. I was like, there's something about all these short kids that just keep playing basketball, and all of a sudden they keep having these growth spurts. And when I was a kid, I was thinking there had to be something for it, like the body must learn. And then I kind of morphed that into, well, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just that the kids that are better are a little taller than average, and then they have growth spurts. And then I was like, maybe all these famous people, their dads are basketball players and their moms are basketball players and famous athletes. There's got to be something in the genes. It can't just be that they all have access to the best gyms in the world. And, then I had to wait like 20 years, and then people were talking, about epigenetics. So I was like, oh, that's kind of what I thought it was when I was a kid. Well, I'm going to take credit for my first wrong thing that kind of morphed into a right thing that is now only sort of still right, but I'll take it.
I don't know. Have you studied Anthony Davis? Kind of seems like he's evidence for your first theory.
Right. Anthony Davis is crazy. Or the curious case of Anthony Davis is about as interesting as the David Robinson case and the other Celtic, White, who's one of the Celtics right now. I don't know if you've seen their cases too, but very interesting.
I have not. I'll look it up when I'm watching the end of the Nuggets game tonight.
Well, same idea. Say what the AD one is.
His unibrow went away.
No.
I don't know if you guys know, but you've got John Kitover in your room.
We did.
I don't know whether you care about the set being broadcast or not, but Ali Esther, that's John Kitover.
Yeah, there's almost never a way to stomp them all up, but I did know that was him. Yeah.
So is he still running for Chicago mayor or
Is he still trying for him? I guess so, but he got indicted for something.
He can come up and tell us.
he's indicted for what?
No, I didn't get indicted. Marshall just likes to use words, and he doesn't understand the meanings of the words.
Said he was indicted for not getting proper voter information.
Wrong. I was not indicted. Marshall is talking out his ass. I'm sitting here with no indictment. Marshall's just a dumbass. Sorry, Marshall. Oh, by the way, I am recording the room. Yeah, that's right, Marshall. Thanks for being your little typical rat self. Go talk to your little brother, Marshall. Oh, go learn the secrets what Trump is doing from your little brother.
You're actually asking for votes?
Yeah, I'm asking for votes. I'm trying to liberate my fellow Americans, unlike Marshall, who loves to just keep them down by using incorrect word usage. Maybe you should take an English course, Sam. I know English isn't your first language either. Oh, you don't like an antagonistic politician, someone who thinks for himself, questions authority. I understand, Sam. It's difficult, but, eventually we're going to get a politician like myself in office who will just censor you because we're not interested in what you have to say. Hello?
You're not very smart, are you?
That could just be projection, Sam. Go look in the mirror and say to yourself in the mirror, you might not be that smart. That's called projection.
Observation.
Let's just hear it. Let's just let it talk. Let's hear. That's the best.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys have ears? I didn't think that was possible. I thought you guys just talk all the time because you love to hear your voices. Just talk.
That's your stump speech.
This is gross.
Oh, this is gross speech. You guys should hear yourselves on my YouTube live. You should see the comments that people leave. Is this for real? Are there really people this ignorant and this woke who can't admit that a Muslim terrorist is a dangerous individual? It's got nothing to do with Islamophobia. It's got everything to do with the religion Islam and Mohammedan law. Maybe you guys should become lawyers and attorneys and consider what is Mohammedan law and whether or not you like Mohammedan law. Because if you like Mohammedan law, well, I'm sure that you're going to support Mohammedan law, but you probably don't even know what Mohammedan law is. Can anyone here tell me what Mohammedan law means in 2026? Hello?
His voice gets all screechy like Tucker Carlson.
Naka is back. Yeah, I put an interesting article that I recommend, and I appreciate Andy pushing towards the more recent articles. This one is called The Iranian Diaspora Fracturing Over Trump's War. And it really is going to discuss that there's there's two directions. Some people go towards, we have to bomb it in order to resurrect it. And other people are wetting their pants over the prospect of what it will take to get rid of the Islamic Republic of Iran. But look, it will take everything, right? They're not going to give up easy. So it will take all of it. And if you don't have the balls to get rid of Islam, then you got to live with Islam.
I mean, we're not getting rid of a religion of like 1.4 billion people. That's never happened.
It's not a religion, Marshall. It's not a religion.
Of course it doesn't.
Benjamin, the goal in Iran is not to remove Islam. It's
that's
an unrealistic goal.
You want me to say Islamic Republic of Iran every time instead of saying Islam? Okay.
Well, no, it's
Islamic Republic of Iran. Sorry that I shortened it.
No, I'm just saying there, in any future.
I know we're going to
any future government, right? Any future country, there'll be, of course, there'll be the Zoroastrians.
Israel is going to pretend that they're not getting rid of Islam. They're just getting rid of Hamas. And the United States is going to pretend we're not getting rid of Islam. We're just getting rid of the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's fine. I'm all for the performance.
Israel has a goal of getting rid of Islam?
There you go, Benjamin. You have a fan.
Well, it doesn't have a choice.
No, I am completely disagreeing with it.
No, I'm talking about 100%. Don Kitover was agreeing with you, Benjamin.
But Israel doesn't.
I find myself agreeing with Benjamin quite a bit, especially when he roasts Steve Appel. That's when I really agree with Benjamin.
Feedback is that you and him are maybe birds of a feather.
Benjamin's analyses are brilliant. There's nothing like it. It's one of a kind analysis. Very, very interesting.
It's also the way he says it. Many of you have probably never actually commented on the way that Benjamin talks, but it's actually very much like Boy Who Cried Wolf.
Which is that Israel doesn't have a choice, right? Because the thing that is allied against Israel most consistently is Islam. And you know it. I know it. The birds can smell it. Because it's verboten to say. You think the Six-Day War was against Egypt? It was against Islam.
Winston Churchill is in the bust of the Oval Office. Donald Trump has the bust of Winston Churchill, the great warrior against Islam, in the Oval Office.
So check out the comments on Dream. I put a link to it in the chat. As he says, I mean, it's damning.
What are we talking about? I didn't follow that.
His live stream of this room, I put a link to it in the chat. And as he pointed out, the comments are just totally damning.
Should we broadcast commenting on YouTube here?
Yeah, people commenting on this room on Kitover's live stream of it on his YouTube.
Oh, how many people are watching?
Nobody.
7.
I think nobody. Let's see. 1. I think it's me.
Well, see, if you go to my live stream section on my YouTube accounts, you can actually see the total number of views of all my videos. So please don't discredit me by saying I get no views. Go to my actual account, watch maybe a couple videos for 5 to 10 minutes, and then look at the data analytics and the numbers, and then we can have a conversation. I am complete. Thank you all very little. I'm not going to tell you. You can just go look at it. I'm here for a conversation, gentlemen.
We got the numbers up to 3 people when we got in there to look.
Damn it, John. You made
Sorry, I just gave him a boost. He probably earned a nickel off of us.
He tripled the numbers because of your comment. Hold on, where is this link?
You have to have a wife to have a wife beater.
Is this the modern equivalent of just like yelling on the street and then begging for food?
Yeah, that's right.
No, I actually kind of consider this like stand-up comedy, but more smart than like normal stand-up comedy. Because like, honestly, who wants to go to a stand-up comedy show to pay a ticket? You could just go to YouTube and watch a bunch of clowns waste their time all day long picking their toes.
Yeah, you're right. Because at least I'm going to laugh if what you think is everybody finds it.
You're off topic, Marshall. I love how Marshall always on Clubhouse says, you're not talking about the topic. Stop talking. You're not talking about the topic anymore. You're off topic. You ever notice how Marshall does that all the time on Clubhouse? You're off the topics. Get back on the topic. That's Marshall's favorite way to communicate with people. You're off topic. Get back on topic. Marshall says that every single day on this fucking app because he's a low IQ meth head.
Should have pressed so screechy and emotional. What's up?
What's the delay? Can you imagine somebody actually watching one of his streams and wondering like who the crazy man is? Wow.
What is the delay between live and YouTube? Hey, do you have a flag entering your bathroom, John? Or is that the hallway?
Hey, Jakob, I have a question for you. Do you have a second?
Yeah, sure, of course. Let me get rid of this YouTube thing. Yeah.
What do 9/11, the 6-Day War, the most recent conflict in Israel, and the conflict in Iran have in common?
Well, I think you want me to say is Islamicism or
No. I want you to find something else. I want you to search. Don't say that obvious thing.
The answer is
Find the thing.
The answer is hummus.
Find the thing that you could possibly replace it with.
6-Day War. I answered it with hummus. Okay. Yeah. So Benjamin, we're moving on.
It's political Islam. That's what he's trying to get at. I'm going to PTR here. My new book. It's called The Many Faces of Political Islam by Muhammad Ayub.
I'm not done talking about hummus. You have to wait your turn. If we all can
Those
get together.
are the only wars in which both sides ate cucumbers.
Okay, PTR. This is The Many Faces of Political Islam. Religion and politics in the Muslim world.
Oh, was it pickled cucumbers or was it fresh cucumbers?
Yeah. Going a little vinegar.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll take a little Kitover timeout. I don't know, Benjamin, you keep interrupting. We were going to ask him to make a campaign speech. Why?
So, Benjamin, what's the answer? What do they have in common? They were all fought in the Middle East.
Yeah, look, my position is that Islam is just something that has to be confronted. It can't be ignored. It won't allow itself to be ignored. It has to be confronted. So God bless those who confront it because they're in my civilization.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, I don't believe in Huntington's Clash of Civilizations. I think Huntington got that from that.
So I have an answer on the delay. It's about a 6 or 8 second delay.
What is?
Anybody? Oh, somebody asked how long, what the delay was on Kitover's live stream. And
Marshall, who's this dude you're talking about?
Huntington. I think.
Samuel Huntington. He wrote a piece called The Clash of Civilizations, which presupposed that Western and Middle Eastern cultures couldn't live in harmony because they were too different. The cultural mores, the ways people lived, all that kind of stuff was just far too different. So therefore, the West and the Near East would always have conflict. And exactly. I just don't it's not an accurate thing. Yes, political Islam in and of itself may be a giant issue in the Islamic community, but it certainly doesn't describe even a minorly large percentage of the 1.3 or 1.4 billion adherents.
It doesn't.
Right. So
it doesn't account for the Ottoman Empire.
It doesn't account for any of the other empires and the passing of knowledge. It counts for this crazy version of Islam that came about, Sayyid Qutb and his crazy version of this shit came about in the 1920s and 30s, along with the creation of the Muslim Brotherhood, and they kind of went a little fundamentalist after that. They weren't they didn't start out necessarily as violent, but they became violent. Which you look at the Middle East and you account for the fact that it was all kind of colonial regimes where politics were not a thing and public expression wasn't a thing. But you could go to your local mosque and talk about religion and the ways in which people should adhere to it. And that was a totally free public space. And so, somebody like Sayyid Qutb, who was this scholar who studied in Greeley, Colorado, came back to Egypt and was repressed by the colonial government and wrote this manuscript called Illuminations, in which he called essentially for not worldwide but Middle Eastern wide overthrowing of illegitimate rulers. He helped redefine what jihad had meant in the last 500-ish years from there into the future for Islamic fundamentalists in a way that just can't be ignored. He's the progenitor of some of this stuff.
I think what people like Benjamin kind of forget is that the issue between Arabs and Israelis was not a religious issue. It was a nationalistic issue. And so when you look at the original people on the Palestinian side, we had Yasser Arafat and Mahmoud Abbas, people like that. They were all quite secular. They were not religious at all. And on the Israeli side, the entire Ben Gurion up through Yitzhak Rabin governments were not religious at all. I think what happened was that nationalism couldn't carry the day anymore. And so people got tired of fighting over nationalism. And so the leaders had to pivot towards religion in order to keep recruiting soldiers for the fight. And I mean, if you look at the history of the Middle East, there was never a fight between Jews and Muslims until the 1960s. And so that I think that this conflict being presented in terms of a religious conflict, I think is a rewritten history of this conflict. It's not about religion. It's about nationalism on both sides and the right to self-governance on both sides.
So it's sort of in the Arab nationalism of the 70s, the 80s. I don't remember which it was, but somewhere in there you have Arab nationalism, and then you have Pan-Arabism introduced. I always forget the word.
No, I'm not. I don't want to cast a big net like that.
Okay.
Because Arab nationalism in different countries meant different things.
Okay.
So I just want to focus on Palestinian nationalism and not broaden it to Arab nationalism.
Yeah, no, that's a good
to do that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Of course. I mean, where did Palestinian nationalism arise from? Aside from, I feel like the fairly obvious of the conflict and the feeling that you had some sort of defined zone that was a name that was given a long time ago that kind of like tracked, like where did the real big kind of chain of nationalism come into the picture?
So that's my biggest question in this whole thing is when you say free Palestine, what does a free Palestine look like to you? Is it an independent Palestinian state? Well, why should it look like that? We never had an independent Palestinian state. West Bank, after the Ottoman Empire, belonged to Jordan, and Gaza belonged to Egypt.
It was occupied by Jordan. It didn't belong to Jordan. They illegally occupied it. It wasn't part.
Occupied what? I mean, when you say it wasn't part of Jordan.
Right, the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan was created in 1946. The British government, through the mandate, was allowed to carve up, and they did, and they created the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan in 1946. The land that was set to be developed, so that was 78% of the mandate. The other 22% was going to be divided up, 55% for the Jewish state and 45% for the Arab state. That Arab state was the West Bank. They didn't create a state there. Jordan invaded and occupied that land from the end of the Israeli War of Independence, whatever war you want to call it, from 1949 to 1967. And actually gave them passports and gave them citizenship. It was just as much an illegal occupation as anything.
So let's first.
That's why
when it was a country named Palestine formed in that division.
No. Right. There was to be the Arab state, according to the UN, and the Jewish state.
Yeah, that's so that's what I'm saying. But so why should it go to the Palestinians? Why shouldn't it go back to people who owned the land before, rightfully owned the land before the Israeli occupation of 1967, right? It's kind of like if you kick out the occupiers, then the land reverts back to people who owned it before the occupiers.
Right, but that's why it's contested. The Israeli position is contested territory subject to final negotiations.
But whoever contested, the contestants should not include Palestinians because they never owned that land. That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree. But you just made the statement that Jordan rightfully owned that land. No, they didn't. They occupied it. It wasn't theirs to begin with. They invaded the land and they took it through conquest.
So the land belonged to the Ottoman Empire. Then it belonged to the British Mandate.
Correct. And then it would. Then the US.
Jordan occupied the British Mandate land.
Correct.
And then Israel occupied the Jordan occupied British Mandate occupied land.
Yes.
So if this is going to revert, it reverts back to whom?
That's subject to final negotiations. That's the Israeli position. Needs to be figured out. I agree.
But
we don't know.
But why? So it either goes back to the British.
No, they said we're done. They pulled out. They said we're done. They handed it over to the UN. The UN said, okay, we're going to come up with the partition plan. They did. They said, here's a partition plan, right? And then the British pulled out.
Back to the Ottoman Empire, right? Because that doesn't.
That's a non-existent entity,
right? So it can't revert back to the British Mandate because that is also a non-existent
entity. Correct.
So before before Jordan occupied it, who owned that land?
There wasn't even a split second where it was an Arab state. It was the British mandate ended on, I want to say, May 13th, and Israel declared independence on the 14th. That should have been
on the West Bank part, because Israel.
No. Israel. If you let me pull up the map so you can see what it looked like.
Israel in 1948 borders didn't include this.
Correct. It was a fraction of what it is even today, but if it hadn't won the War of Independence.
Right. So who owned West Bank at that time?
I'll show you. Hold on. Let me just talk for a moment. Let me just find the map. I have too many things on my phone. Okay.
Sam, different nationalism is also a good signpost. I feel like if you're looking for other countries, I briefly know about Egyptian nationalism, but it seems like that's a country that, as a nationalist, had a nationalist sentiment that was around the same time as the awakening of the Palestinian sentiment of statehood.
So nationalism in the Middle East comes in two flavors. In Iran, you call them Mossadeism on the one hand and Pahlavism on the other hand. So Pahlavism, which is the nationalism that Reza Shah brought in, is basically European nationalism, nativist, xenophobic, so superiority, etc., etc.
Very much foreigners get out. We can do our own thing.
The other one is Mossadeism, is the right of self-determination. That is, it's a movement against pseudo-colonialism in the Arab states. That is, foreign countries stop dictating to us what we should do and let us have the right to self-determination. So when in the Middle East, when you talk about nationalism, you kind of have to kind of be cognizant of which one of these you're talking about. And the nationalism that I was talking about was a second one. It's not a nativist nationalism. It's the right of self-determination nationalism that was basically being practiced by both the Zionists and the Palestinians.
Okay, that's the map. The mandate ended on May 14th. On May 14th, Israel declared independence. They accepted the blue portion, which is a lot smaller than what Israel ended up being after the armistice line of 1949. The orange, the light orange, should have been an Arab state, but instead the five armies invaded. So it never belonged to the so-called Arab state. Egypt took its portion, Gaza, for example. Jordan took its portion, the West Bank, and Jerusalem. You see, Jerusalem was supposed to be the white, was supposed to be an international city run by the UN. And this portion, that is the West Bank, is larger than the West Bank is currently today that Israel occupies. This is what was allocated to the Arab state. And if you look at what the West Bank is today, those were essentially the armistice lines.
Yeah.
So Israel expanded because it got some of the southern portion of the West Bank, and it got the area around Acre in the north up to Lebanon. It got all that orange area, and it also got the Philadelphia corridor near Egypt and sort of to the south of Gaza. This is a very unruly map. Each of the two countries countries had 3 choke points where literally they came together. There weren't contiguous countries either for the Jewish state or for the Arab state. And this map was created by the UN based on demographics. The blue area where there were primarily Jewish people and very few Arabs, and the orange areas where there were primarily Arabs and very few Jewish people.
So this map though doesn't answer my original question of where would the land go to if today Israel withdrew from West Bank and Gaza,